Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the first day of February, 2024. Well, this is the time of Imbolc, so I think I'm going to plant some lettuce seeds today. I've got a pot that I brought inside from the front deck last year when it was getting too cold to be out there, and I was growing it inside, but it didn't do as well as I thought it would. But I can at least start the seeds now in it. And my other area where I grow lettuce, I let it go to seed, and so it always comes up that way. And I don't have to worry about planting. I just move them around. So anyhow, that'll be going on out there in the garden area, but not yet. Not yet. It's not. Although this last week or so we've had really, really warm weather. It got above 60 one day, and it's going to be in the 40s, I think, all for the next 10 days or something. But it's still cold enough at night. Things aren't going to germinate. So anyway, I'll do this in the house. It's to celebrate the idea of spring beginning to return and planting seeds for the future. So sort of a ritual type thing. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the runes for today to get us started. Let me move my keyboard out of the way. Let's see what we have to start things out. Now the Elder Futhark rune will be the above side, and the Geomancy rune will be the below side. And we'll see how they work together or not, as the case may be. Today's rune is Uruz. Now, Uruz is the second rune of the Elder Futhark. It means the oryx. It kind of looks like an old-fashioned buffalo, bison, or whatever. And it's about strength. It's the primal forming essence. It's energy shaping matter. So it's a rune of manifestation. You can basically see the legs of it are pointed down into spirit. So it's a very grounding type of an energy. It's about health and endurance and healing. But it's basically about strength. When you see a big bison, they just look massive, especially the bulls. They're just so huge, and there's such a strength about them. So Uruz is about the inner strength to manifest something from a higher perspective. And to invoke that energy into physical reality. So that's Uruz. Let's take a look at the Geomancy elemental runes here. We'll throw them down on the table and see what we come up with. We're going to put them in there. There's 4 of them, one for each element. And we'll put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. So single dot for fire, single dot for air, 2 for water, and 1 for earth. That's going to be Pur. Now, Pur and Puella, or Puea, its complement, are the little boy and girl energies of the Geomancy runes. This would be Pur. This would be its complement, Puella. And again, if you've been here before, you've heard me talk about the nature of the Geomancy runes. There's 16 of them, but essentially there's 8 concepts that are being dealt with. And so you're looking at 2 sides of each one. And so there you get, instead of 8, you get 16. And again, youthful energy and the lack of impulse control and scattered thinking and all of that. That's part of both Pur and Puella. But Pur is scattered little boy energy. If you've had boys like I did, you know exactly what this is. It's not an evil influence. It's not a misuse of force like Rubius is. That'd be the adult, the way on the other end of the spectrum adult version of this. but Pur is just imagine little boys. And they're curious. They want to know things. They're creating all the time. And again, this youthful lack of impulse control energy can get away from a person today. And so using the energy of Uruz to sort of focus that in from a higher awareness from that perspective can keep some of that maybe at bay today. So that you can use your creativity in a way that manifests something truly positive and wonderful. But anyway, if this is your first time here, thank you so much. Welcome. Thank you for coming by and watching. The only thing I'm really doing here is looking at the runes and the cards to give us some information about our day or for the next few days until we meet again on Monday. And so I do this twice a week, Monday and Thursday. And on this first day of February, we're in a new month. It's just the time, this time of year is for new beginnings. And so you could think about that in terms of, well, the things that you learn here today about a particular situation that might be coming up, because I'm not even going to get real specific about that unless I don't have a choice. It's just obvious that's what it's talking about. I try to keep it as general as possible. So you can pull from this whatever's going to work for you, to give you something else to think about, another way of seeing something maybe in a way that you didn't think about before. It just didn't, it just didn't occur. And so that's what I like about tarot. It's what I like about the runes. It makes me consider whatever I'm thinking about from a different perspective. One that's not so personal agenda based or ego based. So let's just go ahead here. I'm going to have a drink of tea before I get started, though. Let's cut the deck, take the lower half. Oh, well, let's see. Where did I go? Oh, there I am. Okay, everything just vanished. I must have touched this or something. Anyway, let me get that where I can see it so I'm not grabbing it when I don't need it. My mouse. I'm talking about my mouse. Anyway, let's go ahead. I've cut the deck. Let's go ahead and take 3 cards. Well, no cards from the court, 1 from the major arcana, 2 from the suit of wands, and so the will is involved here today, being the first day of the month. That's about new beginnings, talent, leadership. It's also about will. Think of your sun sign with the number 1 that you could think about. So your identity. Although in esoteric astrology, it's really your rising sign that defines you the most. So it's a different way. Again, a different way of looking at astrological charts is to look at it from an esoteric viewpoint instead of the exoteric one, which is what we typically see when we see somebody do somebody's horoscope. Unless you're getting something from an astrologer that's an esoteric astrologer. I prefer that because I just think it gives me more to think about. I don't know. But anyway, with the suit of wands, though, again, you're talking about the will, you're talking about manifestation, motivation, creativity, the spark of life, new opportunities, things like that, things that are going to manifest for you. Would be one way of seeing the fire. It's related to the fire element. It basically represents the fire element. So let's go ahead and we have the Ace of Wands and the 2 of Wands. So we have a progression there. But we also have the Devil card. So what I want to do is liken the Devil card to poor. I know it seems like it would be more of a Rubius type of a thing, but the Devil card isn't necessarily what you think it is. So let's start with it first. Then we'll move on to the Ace, and then we'll move on to the 2. But here we have the Devil. We see our goat-like figure, if you will, with talons. So goat and bat-like figure, really, sitting on a sort of perched on top of a just a little pole there, or a little, I don't know what you want to call it, fence post or whatever. And then you can see the ring here attached to it, and you see the chains going around the 2 individuals' necks. One's a woman, one's a man. You can look at this in terms of polarity. You can look at this so in terms of feminine or receptive versus masculine or projective polarity. You see him. You see the it's almost like he's got something in his mouth, and it's not easy with this particular rendition to really show you. It's almost like he's breathing out fire, maybe, but it's not the right color for that, really. But I mean, it could be. But you see the inverted pentagram, which just means there's a focus on physical reality. You see his horns, you see the wings, but what you also see, besides what looks like live long and prosper here, but but they didn't know about that then. But when this card was drawn, but still, when Pamela Coleman Smith drew these, that was a long time ago. So Star Trek wasn't in the picture, but it's kind of interesting the way the hand is presented because he was from Vulcan, and Vulcan is the planet that esoteric astrology looks at that may be broken up, that's right close to the sun, and we can't see it, so we can't really know for sure it's there, but the lore says it is. And so in any event, though, you're looking at, so I just kind of, that just popped into my head, though. Anyway, you don't need to remember that. Anyway, he's in the as above, so below stance with it one hand up to spirit and one down to form. And the one with the down to form is holding a torch. Now, this is the same sort of presentation that we have with the magician card. The only difference is, instead of the lighting up the below aspect of life, or the physical realm, or the ego side of things, he's pointing up, he's holding a wand to spirit. And so it's a different type of energy. That's more spiritually based. This is more ego based. And the idea with the devil card here basically is, this generally represents a negative influence. It can talk about greed. It can talk about self-imprisonment, control, how you express your desires. Is it clear? You can look at this as we talked about this, I think last week, about service to self versus service to others. This could represent a service to self focus instead of service to others. It could be something like that. But here you're trying to figure out how strong is the ego in things, because the ego tends to influence in a way that is very self-absorbed. It's very self-focused. It's agenda-driven. And so when you're manifesting something today, are the desires going to get out of control for you? That'd be the poor side of things. Or, is your focus scattered? Are you not really, are you not manifesting from some kind of higher perspective here? Again, is it all ego driven? And then from that, it seems like that's the back and forth here, the above and below side of it. But it's also the back and forth here, the two sides of the same coin. We'll just call it the coin of manifestation. We're going to manifest from an ego perspective, or at least one that is scattered in their focus and lacks impulse control. So are we going to lack impulse control and just react, or are we going to manifest from a space that of understanding, the greater understanding of something, letting things settle out and look and see, okay, what's really going on here? I don't think I have all the facts. I need more facts. I need to do my due diligence. Are you going to manifest from a with clarity, if you will? Or is it going to be clearly from reaction? And since we've got two cards from the suit of wands here, the ace and the two, I mean, we're really talking about that type of manifestation. So here we come to the ace of wands, and we see, did we have this? No, we had the ace of pentacles, and when did we have the ace of wands? This must have been a while ago. Anyway, the ace of wands shows a hand, like all aces, reaching out from a cloud with great force here. He's the invocation of will. The hand is holding a crude club, but there's still life growing from it. And that you'll see that with all of the wands or staffs or clubs or whatever expression it is in the suit of wands. You're going to see it that way. There's always going to be growth still coming from it. So it's the independent life that grows without us doing anything at all. It's the energy of the soul that's making all of this happen, actually. And so it's creation energy. You see a castle over here in the distance on the hill. You see lots of greenery. You see down here at the very bottom, you can see a little river or creek winding its way through the land there. You see mountains in the distance. But the Ace of Wands is about is essentially describing something new, some creative spark, some new opportunity, some feeling a new sense of motivation, a new sense of energy about yourself. And you're ready to go. You're ready to make something happen today. But again, is it going to be in a reactionary way? Is it going to be self-driven? Is it all about you? Or is it, or can you see a bigger picture that's involved? I mean, we always want to do everything, right? But sometimes it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. And we might want to do that, but maybe we shouldn't do that. And so when you're looking at poor as the below side of things with the significator runes, I mean, it's really suggesting that there's a lack of impulse control. And so what you manifest today may in fact reflect that lack of impulse control, and not, maybe you're going to go ahead with something that, maybe your partner's not that comfortable with, but you're going to do it anyway, or you're going to do it without talking to that person, or something, along those lines. And you're going to let them know later. and when they can't do anything about it, right? When they can't say anything at that point other than yell at you. Like, why didn't you talk to me, But it's something like that. And again, are you a slave to that desire with the devil, or are you willing to look at things from a higher perspective and to manifest something that's going to be truly wonderful for yourself today? And so again, lots of energy with the Ace of Wands. It's the beginning of something. It's the number. It's the numerology of one, basically. I mean, you have this, looks like a one there, stand with the club in an upright position. That's number one, so it's kind of like, it's like the numerology of one, of talent and leadership and motivation and new beginnings and new opportunities, and everything's new, and you're ready to go with it, right? You're ready to explore your world, to explore your opportunities and all of that. And then we come to the two, where in a sense, he's trying to make a decision about that. Twos are about decision. They're also about balance and love and healing and reciprocity and all of that. But here he's got one staff in his left hand that he's holding, and the other one is affixed to the wall. And so in a sense, there's a little bit of grounding with this being there like that. All of his responsibilities, all of his life itself is right there, and he's trying to figure out where he's going to go and earn his living, basically. You see a globe in his hand. He's looking out over the bay, and in the three of wands, you're going to see him turned in the opposite direction. Well, the opposite direction, and he's looking out over the bay, watching for his ship to come in. So at that point, he's already made the decision, and he's waiting to see what happens, what's going to manifest, in other words. But here, you're still in the decision-making part of it all. Of, are you going to manifest? But the fundamental foundation of it, it's the continuum between a lack of impulse control and really wanting to manifest something wonderful. So if you can't get the impulse control under control, basically, if you can't control that, then what you manifest may not really be lucrative. It may be temporary. It may upset people. It may not yield, in other words, it may not yield the kind of results you're looking for. And so you need to take time, as the will is like, I want to do something today. You need to take time. He's standing up above on the top of either a bridge or maybe the top of a building. You see the lilies and the they're not roses, although I think that they're more like pomegranates. So I'm not sure though, but I think they're supposed to be roses. But in this particular drawing of it, I don't know. To me, they don't look like it, because I grow roses and it didn't look like that. But anyway, or it could be grapes. That could be grapes. But you can't tell from the leaf growth on it. But in any event, it's abundance and new beginnings. purity of motive with the lilies. But if it's grapes here that's on this particular insignia or sign or something, it looks like it's just some kind of a fabric type of a picture here, like a tapestry. If it's like that, I mean, you can see down below here, there's the town. But holding the globe in his hand, he's having to make a decision. It's kind of like the expression, the world's his oyster. He can do anything he wants to do. But again, he's above it all, and he's taking a look, and he's trying to get the biggest perspective that he can on something, to try to make the best decision he can for himself, maybe for his family as well. He looks like he's at least the beginnings of a merchant or a man of means. In the 3, it's a little more ornate. His clothing, I think he's got a sash on of some kind that shows money, basically, that makes it look like he's wealthy, like it's silver or something. And so he's made the decision, and he's waiting in the 3 for the fruits of that, the fruits of his labor, the fruits of the decision, the fruits of his choice as to what he's going to do with his life, or with this new opportunity he has in front of him. And so at this point, we don't even know what it's going to be for anybody watching here. We don't even know. We just know that wherever that's coming from within, Uruz is suggesting that you need to see things from a higher perspective. And I think that this card is really kind of showing that, because he's really up above everything. The town's below, the bay is out there, and so he's up high, and and that just implies a higher vision. Okay. And so he wants to make the best decision possible. Maybe it's not the first thing that comes your way. Maybe it might sound good, but further reflection, you start investigating, you start doing your due diligence, doing your research, and it's like, well, maybe that's not the best choice for me today, or for my family. That's not going to go over well with the spouse or the partner or whatever. And so maybe you need to take some time to just kind of get above it all, and like in the Hermit, where he gets above it all on the snowy mountain peak, to find his enlightenment. Well, same sort of thing, I think, in the 2. There's more than just you involved in the decision. Clearly, there's going to be fallout, if you will, or consequences, or positive results, right? Whatever it is. With respect to the decision that you make today. So be clear on what that is. Do it from a higher perspective, and don't be a slave to desire. The immediacy of something, it sure might look great, but boy, oh boy, someone could be conning you. If someone's bringing you an opportunity, that they want to get you involved with, and maybe you don't really know what their motives are. And so you need to know if it's somebody else that wants you to be involved in something they're doing, like to invest or something like that. You got to really do your due diligence. It's because it's suggesting that there could be a negative influence that's involved in all of it. So be very clear. And manifest with Uruz, the energy of Uruz, from a higher perspective, from strength, from understand that it is the primal forming essence. And so where do you want that to come from? Do you want that to come from higher awareness, from spirit, from the higher self, or do you want to have it simply come from ego, where it might look good, but in the long run, it's not going to be good? And the devil, the negative side of the devil, is suggesting that this is, you've got to be very, very careful at, you see a level of inequality here between the devil figure and the 2 people. So he's really, the ego is in control here. And just depending on how much you want that to be, the outcome may ultimately not be what you're really looking for. Otherwise, you need to be looking from the standpoint of Uruz today, in whatever you're doing. Use that inner strength to hold back and not make a decision until you're fully sure of what. In other words, you've got to be able to see it play out. If you can't see it play out, then it's probably not going to pencil out either, right? Let's look at the numerology, though. We have, 15, that reduces 1 and 5 is 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 10, 11 with Uruz, because Uruz is a 2. This is second rune of the Elder Futhark, so that would be 2. So we're looking at 11 energy here for the or 11 numerology for the reading. And 11, as we've talked about before, 11, 22, 33, these are all master numbers. And 11 is about awakening and enlightenment. And so right away, that's telling us overall, the numerology anyway, is telling us that overall here, we need to be doing whatever we're doing today, whatever decisions that we need to make about a new opportunity or about, I mean, even if it just seems like it's insignificant, you need to do it from a really aware position, so that you're not just thinking in terms of, it's like if you're trying to lose weight and you decide, oh, I'm going to go to the grocery store because I want candy. Well, clearly that's not going to achieve your objective. And so and that's kind of a silly, obvious example here. But, do you want to come from the awakened state of, oh, that's not going to help me? Or do you want to go from the state of, oh, yeah, I want that candy. So I'm going to the store and I'm going to get a bunch of junk food, It's having the inner will, the inner strength to step back and say, wait a minute, let me be sure I know what I'm doing here today when I make the decision I need to make, even if it's just as simple as what you're wanting to go to the grocery store for, right? So, you've got to have patience. You've got to have clarity, and you only get that from spirit. You don't get that from the ego. The ego's not interested in anything like that. The ego just wants the candy, basically, right? And higher self is going, no, don't do it. No. You know what you want to achieve. You're not going to do it this way. And so, have a conversation with your higher self, and it's like, come on, we're a team here, aren't we? No, I'm a team with the ego. I'm on team ego, It's like, which team are you on? But again, I think it's interesting that we ended up with an 11 numerology for it all. Because face it, this could go either way depending on the type of focus you have. If it's all about something that looks really cool, and it's like impulse items at the grocery store when you're going through checkout line, they're there. And it's like, oh, I can get that. I can get it. Stop. Don't do it. Don't look. You don't need that stuff. But then again, you'll find something. Oh yeah, I do need that. I need that. I need to get those long candle lighter things so I can light my candles. So yeah, so it depends on what's there. But it's not an either or situation there. But still, it's the idea of impulse items. They market this stuff that way. They try to appeal to our lack of impulse control. So one store in town, they reset everything in the store, in the grocery part of it. And they just they switched it. And so it's almost like all the impulse items are all in the front, all the stuff that's easy, I mean, I think they also have the laundry soap there. So, I mean, so it's not that, all I need is laundry soap. So it's right there. You don't have to go to the back of the store to find it, So that's a good thing, but the chips and the candy and all of that, I don't know. If you got to walk a little further for it, maybe you think a little more before buying it. And so, but so marketing alone is appealing to one's impulse. And we see that in a lot of different ways right now, where you look at the headlines in different articles from the media, and then you go inside that, you open up and you can say, oh, I want to read this, and you get in there and it's nothing of the kind. So it's appealing to that lower vibrational ego in people and the reactionary aspect of self, which is not operating with clarity. It's not operating with a clear mind. Instead, it's operating from the standpoint of the devil card. So I think that, again, whatever it is you want to do today, the pull can be very strong to do it with a lack of impulse control. And so you just need to step back and take a look at it really carefully and be sure of what you're seeing. Make sure, play it out in your mind. Can you see the logical conclusion to it? Or when you get there, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? Well, that's a sign that you're on the wrong track. Okay? At least that's how I see it. And then, you got to decide whether or not you want to do it anyway. See? But if you do, don't be surprised if it doesn't play out the way you think it will. So anyway, that's it. That's all I want to talk about. I don't think we need to say anymore. This maybe this is not just for today. Maybe it's through the weekend, but there could be something coming up for you that you really need to take a hard look at and make sure that it's really what's going to do well for you and possibly your family or your partner or what have you. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and have a good weekend. The stuff comes out on the blog over at Stepping Aside. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. Click on more below the video if you forget. It's right there. The web address is there. But the forecast will go out on Sunday. Well, I do it in the midnight hour on Sunday. Also, the correspondences for Work and Magic will come out then. The Exploring Tarot series I'm doing, that will also post. And then also there's an astrological kind of cheat sheet of where the moon's going to be all week, and where what planets are in what sign and all of that kind of stuff there. Plus the retrograde stuff is there. It's just like just an overview of it. I've been calling it a cheat sheet, but it's kind of an astrological overview. So I'll have to train myself to call it that now that I've called it cheat sheet a few times. This is immediately what I want to say now. So it's really an astrological overview of the week and where planets are and all of that, in case you're interested in stuff like that. And so check that out if you would. I write also over on Medium and Patreon and Substack. And I post my stuff over there too. So if you're on those platforms, you can check me out over there. Substack, it's called Witch Notes, because you have to title your stuff over there. Otherwise, it's just my name. And so, but anyway, thanks for watching and have a good weekend. And come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.